Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're at in the world. Here in North America, it is, of course, Friday night, hence Friday Night Fights, presented by the Night Crew, aka New Clan, which is just fantastic. Definitely excited to be here with you guys tonight. We're going to be getting started with some land battles very shortly. So for those of you guys who are not aware, let me just, I thought I had this actually prepared, but I did not. Anyway, we do have a bracket on challenge here. And let me just get this all ready to go. So, there we are. Yeah, we're going to be starting with here, Strat Game versus World Beater. Be a nice quick tournament tonight. It's best of ones up until we get to the semi-final, which will, or sorry, the finals, which will be best of three. So, should be some nice quick games, get through the early rounds, and then get on to the finals. The winner of this, I believe, qualifies for the Sunday, Friday night championship, essentially, right? So, definitely an exciting time tonight. Yeah, Tournament of Champions is Sunday, and it's the last chance to qualify. So, it's been an ongoing series, of course. You guys all know, if you've been watching on the other YouTube channels have been covering this, or if you're a land battle enjoyer, you might have been playing a little bit here and there of these excellent Friday night tournaments, but here we are. Let's get back to the action here, and let's see what these guys get for their faction picks. It's going to be a good time. Gorgazan is going to be the first map. Excellent. Alright, so it looks like Strat Game picks Bretonnia, Dark Elves, Counts, Bands, Bretonnia, Ogres, Greenskins. So we'll see what the counter pick is. Yeah, it's a... Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's definitely an interesting matchup in the first round for sure, which is why I immediately jumped at the chance for this one. Not that the other matchups aren't going to be interesting as well, but certainly Strat Games was a patron of mine for quite some time. Had some games against each other in the past, and definitely interested to see how he can do here. Full Umbrella's got his money on World Beater, evidently. So it should be really interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to see some of the matchups we've got tonight. Should be quite a bit of fun. Hopefully y'all are doing well. It's been quite an enjoyable, if not very busy summer for me. I haven't had as much time as I would have liked to be hosting events of my own, so it's nice of Cool Umbrella to invite me to stream some of his events. Definitely much appreciated. Make sure my streaming skills, my casting, live casting skills at least, stay up to stuff. Definitely looking forward to the future in terms of, you know, DLCs as a human faction enjoyer. Got Kislev and Cathay both next up, and Tzeentch is probably my favorite Chaos. Maybe not mechanically, but just lore-wise and in terms of aesthetics. So prospect of like a Tzeentch versus Cathay and Kislev DLC sounds amazing to me. So we'll see when that emerges. Originally, I believe they said it was going to be Q3 2023, which is now upon us. So hopefully we see news of that soon. He isn't even the top of the Vermin League anymore. Okay, so it looks like he's gonna World Beater is gonna ban Count, pick Coast. So Dark Elves versus Coast, which is definitely an interesting matchup. Historically, I would have put Coast favored in this matchup. Yeah, just for a multitude of reasons, but nowadays I'm not sure. I think probably if I had to say an experienced Coast player should be able to beat Dark Elves. I would give them a small faction advantage, but maybe not a decisive one. So certainly interested to see how this goes in terms of a faction matchup, but it was a painful one back in the day. Even though Dark Elves have bolt throwers, which are generally pretty good in this matchup, it's just a little bit odd in terms of Dark Elf units being somewhat flimsy and just high DPS out of like bombs and stuff. Yeah. A lot of dynamics in this matchup. Hopefully we see, no, unfortunately, no Gallows Giant. This is one matchup where, even though Dark Elves have some powerful mid-range skirmish, its range is actually pretty low, so you can kind of get away with using the Gallows Giant here. It's a little bit risky. Certainly, it would seem with all the ranged units the Dark Elves have brought here. A lot of Shades and Dark Shards, so it's a lot of Daka, but same time, with like bats and dogs, you can kind of zone them fairly well and still make the Gallows Giant operate, at least in my very, very outdated experience. It's been a while since I've actually tried that build in practice, but I like what I see here in terms of the bombers. We've got some mortars as well for some nice DPS against light armor infantry. Let's see here, some deckhands, swords and polearms, a couple of depth guards as well. Polearm Admiral on the Crab. I've been noticing more people bringing the Polearm Admiral lately. He is very cost-effective. Personally, I like the Pistol Admiral a little bit better for the items, but the anti-large AP on 120 armor, almost 5,000 HP on the Crab, is pretty sturdy. Got a lot of damage output potential. For the Dark Elves, of course, Malice, super strong, very good choice in most matchups. Really hard to go wrong with him, to be honest. Yeah, I've got some Harpies, Dark Riders out to the flanks, Shades here, bunch of Dark Shards through the center, Sorceress of Fire, and a bunch of Sad Swords and Dread Spears. So definitely going to be interesting. World Beater takes a little bit more of a defensive posture here with his Prometheans. Oh yeah, Lamper's Revenge just looking absolutely foul here. I love the painting on the shells, though. It's just such a nice little touch. Oh yeah, cool umbrella. We do have a clan war next weekend I'll be streaming. I'm going to probably put up some promotional posts throughout the week for that, because it's definitely going to be awesome. XMT versus NC. And it'll be a wild time for sure. Anytime there's a clan war with XMT, it's bound to be wild. This is going to be NC's first clan war. Did you guys already have one? Regardless, I'm definitely excited. Really excited to see some wild times. Yeah, I mean, with the Dark Elves pick open, Dark Elves versus Counts, I think. Oh, Pirates into Counts, you think is money here? Yeah, I don't know. First one, nice. First official clan war. That's fantastic. I'm honored to be a part of this history. What's up, dog? Oh man, look at these mortars though. The mortars are just absolutely wrecking the Dark Shards. I really like the triple mortar pick for how cheap they are. I mean, 1-to-1, they pretty much trade with the Dark Shards, like they're a little bit more expensive. But per artillery piece, I mean, they've gotten close to paying for themselves already. Which is pretty insane. We do have the Shades now moving in from the flank. Let's see if they can get within range to shoot down these mortars. And this is the reason why, historically, I think Dark Elves struggle in this matchup, is this specific range issue. Like, even their Shades are, what, only 130 range, which is really not that great, to be honest. Like, High Elves would be able to pull up from further distance and actually shoot the mortar crews themselves, but those look like the Dark Elves are going to start to respond and absolutely just wreck one bomber completely without it doing anything. The Harpies do swoop in and take a little bit of friendly fire damage there, but nice burning head in the back line as well. Gives some extra pressure on those zombies, and the gunnery mobs, the bombs are getting taken out in a big hurry. Looks like Strat Game is going to switch on to the mortars, which definitely he should. Try and take out those crews. They're going to be very flimsy. Yeah, these two Shades here are pretty dangerous for World Beater. The fact he doesn't have any mobility to try and respond to this, like there's no bats or dogs or anything, The Shades are going to be relatively safe once these mortars get shut down, and I do think they're going to get shut down here. Yeah, we see nice shooting the gap there by Strat Game, getting onto those mortars. But lots of Rotting Prometheans still in here. Ooh, this is not necessarily great. The Vampire Admiral gets tangled up with Malice, takes a bunch of damage right there. He's going to have to run back, screen through his crabs. And yeah, the mortars initially did some really nice damage, but the Dark Elf leadership means those Dark Shards will stick around. And slow zombies, unfortunately, have a really tough time here, so... yeah, it looks like the Shades are starting to really pay some dividends. They get some devastating volleys into those Lamprey's Revenge. Regeneration only goes so far when you're taking such high damage, and that's the thing. Shades have ridiculously high DPS. Just Dark Elf missile units in general, for the amount of armor piercing you get out of them, overall DPS is very high. But look at this. Dark Elves just absolutely massacre through this front line, and once the missile units, like the mortars and things, get eaten up for Vampire Coast, it's pretty tough situation for them. Look at this, though. Malice is also not doing great here. He might be forced to pop his Zarkan form in relatively short order. Admiral's trying to get some summons of some pistol zombies, it looks like, to try and fight back here, but Vampire Coast falling apart very quickly. Yeah, Malice is great, to be honest. In general, in this matchup, a Lord who's smaller target, like has less of a missile hitbox, is going to be generally better. So, I mean, Horse and Foot Lords tend to be, in my experience, the best. Not necessarily always, but yeah, Marathi's okay. But I really like the pick of Malice here. He's kind of the tank Lord archetype, right? Although he does have access to a horse, which many do not. Or Sigvald and Vlad and so forth. But yeah. Yeah, it was unfortunate. The borders ended up, only one of them actually paid for themselves. The other ones got pretty close, but I don't necessarily love the pick of the Depth Guard polearms. Like, I don't know exactly what they're meant to be killing here. I think you cut these two and just take extra mobility to try and counteract the Dark Riders and Harpies. Like, generally, Bats and Direwolves, especially if you can heal them, like get a clutch healing, they'll trade very well into these light units for the Dark Elves, so... yeah, I think I would have definitely cut those Depth Guards. They didn't really do much. Otherwise, great job by Strat Game, honestly, pulling up, and despite taking the damage here, that flank attack with the Shades is very effective. And, yeah, no mobility for Coast meant there was really no response to it, so definitely interesting. Let's go ahead and get on to another lobby here, if we can. So let me switch this on over here. Yes, from the last time I casted Friday Night Fights. Get the music going again. Let's see. I guess I could just stay on with Strat Game. Let's see. Yeah, I actually might jump in with Strat Game and Rainy Frog. Okay, so we'll jump back on in there. Take the Lord off the crab. Yeah. Not a bad idea. He has anti-large AP, like, on foot. He has less armor, but I think you want him for the cheapness mainly, right? Which definitely on foot makes more sense. I don't know. The Pistol Admiral, I feel, is much better on the crab. Because her melee stats are not nearly as impressive on foot, and on the crab she becomes like a pretty strong kind of hybrid type lord. Yeah. Definitely interesting. It's hard to pass Noctilus up because the long-range zombie summons are so helpful, like there, and when those shades come in for that flank attack, just to be able to interrupt them with that like longer range zombie summon from his item. So strong. He is a lot more expensive, but not that much more expensive. Like, hit it down, he's actually reasonably cheap. Yeah, the pistol, gunnery white, much better on the crab. Elevated firing platform too. But, I don't know. I might unironically go with the Gallows Giant plus, like, a bunch of mobility. Like, you can go 8 mobility units there, and it's usually pretty overwhelming, because most, like, I don't know, maybe nowadays things are different, but even in that build, like, Strat Game had a decent amount of mobility, but it didn't have a lot of mobility, and especially if you can get, like, good 2v1 engagements with the bats on Harpies and the dogs on the Dark Riders, you could trade very effectively, and if you win mobility, then you can kind of just, you know, continuously reposition the Gallows Giant so he's not taking too much damage from the crossbows, and continue to pressure the crossbows with your own mobility. It works. I mean, I haven't tried it in quite some time, so I don't know. Your mileage may vary, but in my experience, it works reasonably well against Dark Elf players who are not well prepared for it, and I feel like most would not be, but in that situation, the Pistol Admiral and the Crab can be pretty decent because she can provide a little bit of pressure from, like, short range, right? So as you're trying to control and kind of fight back, I don't know. It does leave you pretty weak in the center, though. That one, it might be more helpful to have Noctilus so you can keep spamming infantry units. Yeah, I should dig up some of my old Coast Warhammer 2 videos and look through some of the builds again, because honestly, Coast is one of those factions that not very many people play them, I feel like, but they're so strong. Like, I feel like they're kind of slept on to a degree. Anyway, Coast is a good time. Let's see what these guys are doing in terms of their picks and bans. Okay, so Rainy Frog is going to pick Cathay, Dark Elves, Greenskins, bans Ogres, Bretonia, Chaos. Strat Game is going to choose Skaven and ban Dark Elves. So Skaven versus Greenskins should be quite a good time. And I'm just adjusting the scoreboard real quick. We'll get this started. Okay. Alright, almost ready here. They're loading in. And we're just adjusting the faction names real quick. Oh, whoops. Wrong one, here we go. Alright, so... Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Alright, so here we are, Skaven versus Greenskins. Should be in for a fun time here. Deathmaster Snitch is going to lead the way for the Skaven. got some rat ogres, it looks like. Plenty of weapons teams, being mainly the avalanche mortars and 2 poisonwind globes. A couple of Skaven slave slingers as well. Warlock engineer, plague monks, and clan rat spears. Some clan rats also. And it could zap zap. Interesting choice. Looking to delay the abilities and casting of Wurzag, who is brought here. There are quite a bit of woods to hide, though. And I think Wurzag will have plenty of opportunity to try and hide from Ikit's Zap Zap as much as possible. We'll see, though. Got some squig herds here, lots of goblins as the front line, putting a couple of fanatics, it looks like, perhaps. Yeah, Broken Tusk Mob, Durkit Squigs, my Goblin Squig Hoppers, Mangy Marauders there, a couple of Savage Orc Boar Boys, and some more Squig Hoppers. So lots of cavalry, mobility, lots of squigs. The 1 Black Orc, and Dancing Wurzag. Oh yeah, gotta appreciate Dancing Wurzag. Look at him go, just boogie, boogie. Oh, getting it. Dancing Wurzag is a flex for sure. And I'm pretty confident that he'll be able to just like post up in these trees somewhere and stay relatively protected from the artillery while still being able to cast spells and affect the battle with his Bonewood Staff. Maybe looking to spam as much of these cheap spells as possible, I would imagine. Does have Here We Go in case he wants to go for a big timing push. Take a look at the Warlock Engineer here. Just Flensing Ruin. Quite strong. Decently expensive. He'll get a few casts of it. Definitely going to be nice to protect against cavalry or low model count units in general. So definitely interesting builds, both sides. I like this. Alright. We're going to see these Warp Lightning Cannons pop off immediately. It gets Zap Zap here. We'll get in the POV of this little crew guy in the front here. See what they see. Oh yeah. The trees are going to be an issue here, but a couple of good shots land on the Orc Boar Boy Biggins so far. Wurzag is in range, but no shots are being concentrated on him. Definitely for strat game, the target priority #1 by far is Wurzag, but oh, look at the Avalanche Mortars just absolutely deleting some goblins. I mean, they are just goblins overall, and I mean, yeah, what are they, 850 Orc Boar Boy Biggins? Reasonably expensive, not the most expensive unit on the field here, certainly, but ooh, nice Avalanche Mortar shots land on a couple of units that are overly blobbed up there, and definitely feeling the pain already. I mean, granted, it's like less than 600 points worth of goblins that have been destroyed, just to keep things in perspective, but I'm not sure. This is a pretty good Skaven defense build right here. Foot Wurzag should be an auto win. Yeah, you're probably right, to be honest. But yeah, Squig Hoppers unfortunately just kind of blunder into spears in the front line. That is going to mostly allow them to get blasted by the Globadiers, but yeah, it's just an assault on all fronts. We've got a few Dread Column positions here. Not sure exactly what the intention is with those, but oh man, those Rat Ogres are going to come in and do some really nice damage to those Savage Orc Boar Biggins. And it's already looking pretty rough for the Greenskins. The range damage from the Skaven has just been pretty extreme, and being able to crack these range positions is pretty tough. Losing out on a lot of leadership here, must be said. But let's see if he can get some Fanatics casts off, perhaps, in this frontline engagement. Yeah, the Plague Monks are getting absolutely eliminated here by some enraged Orcs and Goblins, but Greenskins already having some pretty major leadership issues. It gets Zap Zap also starting to pop Wurzag, which is going to prevent him from casting more spells. Nice Flensing Ruin in the front line here. Skaven seem to be doing alright so far. And Snitch hasn't even really been activated yet. Nice Fanatics cast through that front line. That's going to do some fairly solid damage. Actually does come back and even damage that artillery crew a bit. but I'm just not sure. I mean, Greenskins haven't been able to compromise the Poison Wind Globes or the Avalanche Mortars here, so it's going to be tough. Big timing push, though. Bois is going to help them try and cut through this front line here, perhaps. And you can see the unit models are starting to filter through a little bit, but Skaven are doing a good job of just blocking things up considerably. And leadership is definitely an issue. Yeah, Warzag kind of parks himself out in the open instead of going for one of these wooded areas to the side here, and that's going to mean he gets absolutely blasted. Yeah, definitely a rough time for the Greenskins, so looking to be another quick win for Strat Game. A little Flensing Ruin there. And I believe that's going to be probably army losses for the Greenskins once Warzag goes down. Technically Shatters, not quite dead yet. Got about 200 HP. And there it is, yeah. Was pretty rough. I mean, the damage on the advance was considerable. And it's just one of those situations where, again, it's tough to say for sure. But needed Black Orcs. I actually disagree. I think probably what you need to try and do is get the Skaven out of their defensive position. I mean, hindsight's 2020. Skaven can pull off some pretty nasty rush builds, but I would probably go... It sounds strange, but maybe like mass catapults, like take 3 to 4 catapults and just, you know, shell the Skaven, try and set up your own defensive position, or kind of stretch where they, you know, as they try and overextend to go after your artillery pieces, then you have plenty of mobility and other kind of strike forces to be able to quickly respond and continue to keep them spread out. I don't know. Yeah, Greenskins build was not ideal for sure. A lot of cavalry, and I mean, going for a mass vanguard here with all those squigs, like if you were to switch out some of the non-vanguard units and, you know, take like an army where he could bring all of his units in vanguard and just rush very quickly, try and catch Strat Game kind of off guard, but even then it's pretty risky. A lot of those vanguard units are not necessarily going to trade great into this build necessarily, so it's definitely tough. But Greenskins here, I don't know if they necessarily have a great time in this matchup. Have to kind of sit and think about it a little bit. There's different things you could try and do, but yeah, Black Orcs are definitely not it. They're too slow, and the globes absolutely destroy them. Trolls, yeah, stone trolls definitely. It can never go wrong with stone trolls. I mean, magic resist helps them against Flensing Ruin, right? The missile resist helps them against all sorts of stuff. They're one of your few units that are not super vulnerable to globes, right? Because a lot of Greenskins' reliance on infantry and even multi-model cavalry is somewhat countered by globes. So maybe I'd go with like a troll catapult build. I don't know. Sounds strange, but yes, Spider Riders for sure. I do like the Squig Hoppers, definitely. If you can get the Squig Hoppers onto the weapons teams, they'll eat them super fast, but it's a matter of opening up those lanes, because the Squig Hoppers are squishy. You don't necessarily want to just throw them in against clan rats, necessarily. So let's see here. Let's see if we can find another matchup that is ongoing that they haven't quite started yet. Is that... let's see here. Just 1 second, guys. Switch this over. And I'll be right back. Hey, alright, strat game with the tenor, much appreciated. We are in, and I'm not even going to bother with the scoreboard because we're just in best of ones, and they're already getting started. So we've got Tomb Kings versus Lizardmen. We're getting a nice variety of matchups today, guys. I really appreciate that, just like I appreciate the tenor from strat game. And yeah, definitely been an enjoyable time so far. Tehenowin versus Cathay now in this next one. I like the pick of Tehenowin quite a bit, actually. I feel like he's maybe a little bit underrated, maybe a little bit overpriced, but still quite a good lord, depending on his mount selection. Most likely he's on his cavalry mount here. I think that's probably his best, most cost-effective form. But, yeah. Glorious concept. It's that pick 3, ban 3. Yeah, ban 3 is for sure the way. Definitely. I'm probably going to steal that pick format because I like that quite a bit. Get some different factions for sure. Okay, taking a minute to load in here. Sorry, somebody's just distracting me with some messages. Okay. Cool. Yes. Perfection. Okay, so Kathep's on his chariot. I am in favor of this. I think that's probably his best mount choice. Gives him some armor, a little bit of armor, not the most HP, but definitely some good speed and mass and just general survivability. So big fan of that. We got 3 Shoptic Greybows, including the ROR here, Eyes of the Desert, Skeletons, and Tomb Guards in abundance. 2 halberds, skeleton spears, a couple Nehekar warriors as well. Definitely going to be looking for that sweet anti-infantry from them. Looks like, yeah, 4 Nehekar warriors actually as a front line. Definitely very solid. 4 Tehenowin and anti-Kaiju here. Cold One Riders with some Feral Cold Ones, front line of some Skink cohorts, and we've got some Saurus Warriors also. Yeah, Tenuin actually on his Engine of the Gods. Wow, so looking big and powerful and tough. Immune to contact effects is definitely an interesting one. Will it actually apply that much in this matchup? I don't think so. But this is potentially one to look for in some other matchups like Nurgle, where contact effects are pretty much ubiquitous and ever-present. Yeah, Focus Instinct, Burning Alignment. Oh, I forgot that Medieval 2 music is still just slapping in the background. Watch these guys get it started. Rev Crystal also to give some healing to Tenuin himself. So he's got quite a bit going on right now. Got that extra 5% from the Portent of Warding. That's from the Engine of the Gods, I believe. 5% damage resistance is a decent amount. Extra 10% charge and poison weapon damage also. It says it affects all allies in a 35-meter range, but I guess it is pretty short. But yeah, it does eventually come into some of these other units here. Perhaps? No? Is it actually bugged out? Interesting. Might actually report that ability. It seems like it's not necessarily affecting... Yeah, imbuement. Doesn't seem to be working properly. That's interesting. We all learned something new today. Also, Tenuin on the approach is getting lit up by these Ushabti Great Bows. Definitely taking some very significant damage. Oh man, yeah, Tenuin needs to get some Rev Crystal healing immediately and pull back. Eyes of the Desert also coming forward right now. Looks like he was trying to throw a Manticore summon up danger close. Might end up paying a significant price. The Manticore can now try and attack though, and at least disrupt these Ushabti here. But Rev Crystal also taking some fairly significant damage now. Javelins are going to pull up and just try and soften up those Nehekar warriors a bit before the Saurus get into combat. But the Saurus definitely should be just closing the distance right now. And Cold Ones, Cold One Riders, Feral Cold Ones also trying to get through gaps on the flanks here. But it looks like they're going to be kind of caught up on some of those Nehekar warriors. Incantation of Cursed Blades there to increase their weapon strength. But Lizardmen are now starting to get the attack going here. This Manticore is doing a decent job disrupting, but unfortunately Tenuin is just taking consistent damage from these Ushabti Great Bows. Yeah, they actually switched on to the Rev Crystal, which is an interesting choice. Ushabtis definitely need to stay focused on these high-value targets here. Looks like Tenuin's going to drop an orbital bombardment laser on those Nehekar warriors. Just absolutely blasts through line of skeletons there, and that's going to kind of open things up a little bit for the Lizardmen to try and break through, but a little bit of Dread Column formation also at these Skink cohorts make their attack run, try and break through and start to disrupt. These Cold Ones are in a great position though. Really nice side charge into those Ushabti. Armor-piercing damage, obviously going to be very dangerous, but plenty of skeletons in support. Ushabti are at risk, but they should be able to pull away from that engagement fairly effectively. The Nehekar Warriors also returning to help. Try and get on some of these Skinks, use that anti-infantry damage to good effect. I really like this color scheme, I have to say. The Skinks are, yeah, interesting colors. Get some nice variety, for sure. Oh man, yeah. Skink's speed also is going to come in handy here if they're able to get loose and kind of chase these Ushabti around a little bit. It's going to prevent the Ushabti from firing so much, but oh man, Tenuin is so close to death here. Desperately needs some more healing from the Rev Crystal, and he gets it. Will it be enough to keep him alive? Lizardmen have got to keep up the pressure on these Ushabti Great Bows if they're going to have Tenuin survive here, but pretty clutch healing there. It's going to give him a little bit more HP at least. He needs some more time to work with that Rev Crystal, though. So we'll see how it continues to go. Oh, the Manticore manages to get on Cathay here and do some really nice damage. Incantation of Protection on himself. Make sure he doesn't take insane amount of damage, but almost down to half HP already. This unit of Ushabti Great Bows as well is taking some pretty huge damage here. Nice side volley from the Eyes of the Desert point blank into those Saurus. But these Ushabti Great Bows having a hard time getting free from enemies. We also see Tehenowin wheel up and around the side here. Oh man, Kotep, what are you doing? Kotep going for the risky biscuit with a little Flock of Doom. Yeah, not sure about that choice, but it does seem we're going to have, excuse me, the Ushabti summon be pulled up here. So Tehenowin's got to be very careful of that. Thankfully, they were not able to get summoned up quickly enough to get a full surround on him, but that does kind of bring him closer into these lines, and Tomb Kings are starting to extricate their Ushabti Greatbows, although as soon as I say that, more skinks rush in and provide some extra kind of bodies interrupting here. Cold One Riders getting inside of those Eyes of the Desert. I just don't know. I mean, the Lizardmen are surviving, but yeah, Tehenowin actually breaks there, and that's going to quickly cascade army losses, so Tomb Kings take home the win. Ushabti Greatbows, such a powerful unit, historically and even to this day. Lizardmen have some tools that can potentially deal with them, but it's pretty tough, especially when they're well protected. Fat Kid was able to do just that here, and all the Ushabti are going to get some insane value. This one in particular, almost 3,000 damage value. Well, pretty close, within 250 points. Rest of the army is just kind of here. For the Lizardmen side, pretty tough, you know. I would almost say take more mobility, or else just focus all into infantry. You know, like Red Crests are a pretty good option here because they have armor-piercing damage, and they have speed and poison, so they can catch the Ushabti, and once they do, the Ushabti can't get away. That armor-piercing damage definitely adds up with their high model counts, so probably switch up this composition a little bit, but it's definitely an interesting one for sure. Yeah, Tehenowin just take way too much damage initially there, and it's tough. It's a tough situation. It's a tough matchup to try and take big monsters because Ushabti Greatbows are so ever-present here. But Lizardmen do have some tools that can deal with them. Needed bigger boys. Maybe just more skinks, actually. All right, let's get the next matchup locked in here. So I believe Big JP and Sir Groot are playing. So we'll get ready to join this next one here. Just as a quick reminder, here on the brackets, so we've got Strat Game and Fat Kid both waiting on their respective opponents. Seagulls versus John FV. I don't know if John is actually here. Need to double check the chat. But yeah, Big JP versus Sir Groot, I believe, is ongoing right now. So give just another minute here. We'll put the music back on. We'll kind of chill out for a minute. Generally, Empire is what I would consider my main, although I do enjoy playing pretty much all the human factions. Cathay, out of those, is probably my least favorite, but I still enjoy playing them. Greenskins, from time to time, I've been known to enjoy. I don't know, I like most factions, to be honest. Not the biggest elf enjoyer, must be said. They're pretty low on my list. Also, undeads tend to be pretty low on my list as well. But, yeah, cavalry factions are definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, Lizardmen needed to hold back the Crystal and Tehenowin until the bows were caught up. Yeah, and I think they could have had a better composition to try and tie up the bows. It's not necessarily that I don't like the cold ones, it's just, again, I feel like red crests are better because like mass anti-large with what we saw right there is pretty common to protect. And the red crests have the speed and the poison and AP to deal with Ushabti Great Bows. So yeah, just by the nature of my YouTube channel, I try and play all the factions, at least, so I have like a cursory knowledge of all of them. Kind of how their mechanics work and different units and stuff, so... yeah, Kislev, Orcs, and Demons. Kislev's definitely fun. I'm looking forward to their DLC, like I said. Out of the 3 on the next DLC, I'd say in order of excitement for me is probably Kislev, Tzeentch, and then Cathay. And then, of course, the DLC after is going to be Empire, Dwarfs, and Nurgle, I believe. Double check me on that, but that sounds pretty awesome as well. Definitely excited to see what the Empire's got in store. Okay. Wartonia and Slaanesh. Slaanesh is tricky. They're very tough to play. Can be, at least. At times they've been ridiculously powerful, but pretty rewarding in that way just because they're so fast. And generally, fast factions I find pretty fun. Like, I'm not... The slower factions actually tend to be the ones I play the least, like Vampire Coast, Dwarfs, Nurgle... are probably my least favorite of kind of the undead chaos, you know, order respectively, but let's see here. Just out of curiosity. I think they probably already started, but... yeah. Okay, no worries. Yeah, Cathay is super strong in land battles. They're one of the best land battles factions, for sure, and a DLC is probably just going to make them even stronger, so... oh, thank you. Appreciate that. It's been quite the journey. Been doing it for a few years now, and it's fun. I do this because I enjoy it primarily, and it's like I haven't been playing that much myself recently, just because I have had some stuff going on in life, and busy planning a wedding, and just kind of prioritizing some other things in my life, which is fine, but I don't want to burn myself out and then stop producing content, because I really enjoy the content production side more than anything. I enjoy playing as well, but yeah, I'm trying to get some time scheduled to play with some people, knock the rust off, get back into the games more myself, because I feel like my knowledge is still pretty good. My micro is probably super rusty, but one of those things, when you've done it enough, it tends to come back pretty quick, so I'm hoping I can kind of jump back in and start to learn some matchups. I do want to play some Kislev and Cathay and Tzeentch specifically, just to get a feel for where they're at, since they are next up on the DLC docket. I want to kind of refresh my thoughts on those factions pre-DLC, so then I can have a better opinion when the DLC does come. Yeah, tournaments are definitely a good time, which I really appreciate, like I said, Cool Umbrella for inviting me to stream today. Just 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go grab a drink of water while we're waiting, and we'll be right back. I appreciate the offer, Cool Umbrella. I'll let you know. We'll see. I don't think I'll have time tonight, but tomorrow and Sunday, I should be around a good part of the day. So into the evening, can definitely get some games. Yeah, Milk and Cookies got some great cinematics. I try and get a mix of cinematics in real time, but like, kind of my philosophy has always been, I try and show the battle for the most part in full speed, like without too many slowdowns or, you know, slow-mos, or I do some kind of in situ cinematics, but also I try to keep my editing overhead as low as possible, so all the editing and, you know, filming those extra shots and getting everything nice does take a little bit of extra time. So, yeah, also, on the full speed thing, it's just because that's, you know, the speed the game's played at, so that's why I try and present it at as much as possible. Real-time cinematics is hard, but I feel like I've gotten pretty good at mixing it in. Not perfect by any means, but, yeah, let's see. Alright. Looks like I got another code here. Excellent. So, got now Seagaz versus John FB. Like these two are getting ready to duke it out, so let's go ahead and switch on over to that. Looks like Fat Kid at Recess and Big JP are also getting ready to queue up. Got their matchup set. Big JP was able to prevail over Sir Groot, so yeah, if I show you guys here. Excellent. So here we are, John FB versus Seagaz. Winner of this will face Strat Game. And Fat Kid at Recess versus Big JP. If I can get the replay for that, I will. But let's check in on the chat over here. Okay. Looking good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, editing is not necessarily hard, but very time consuming. So if you're a professional editor, you know, I respect that. Yeah, stock PC background, just to throw people off, you know. Maybe I changed it off the real background just before the stream. Just kidding. No, I'm not that advanced. Looks like these guys are getting ready to get started here, so let's go ahead, load in with them. All right. This is the Medieval 2 Total War soundtrack. Classic. Yeah, of course, and I think it's fine for different people to have different casting styles, right? Like, I don't necessarily see us as in competition per se. It's more that we're not necessarily co-workers, but we're in the same space, and generally there's enough hours in the day that if people want to watch Warhammer content, I think we have, you know, lots of time still for people to produce. Generally, you know, multiplayer battles especially tend to be in the realm of like 10 to 15 minutes for typical land battles video, so yeah. Yeah, Medieval 2's total soundtrack. It goes so hard, to be honest. True OG. Alright, so Seagull's coming in hot with the elves here. Supreme Sorceress up on the dragon. We've got Cairns of Cain, bunch of Dark Shards, front line of Sisters of Slaughter, Bleak Swords, Black Ark Corsair mixed in there as well. A couple of Cold One Knights in the back, Dark Riders, yeah, decent stuff. And on the other Dark Elves, we've got Sisters of Slaughter and Witch Elves, just a huge wide line of them. Manticore plus, whoops, is that yeah, Hellebron on a Manticore also. Very bold choice. Master on a Pegasus, Dark Pegasus, whatever, Cairns of Cain, and a Sorceress, so yeah. Dark Elf Mirror is not something I expected on bingo today. Didn't even put that one on my bingo chart, but there you go. All right. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, the wide line of naked she-elves versus more balanced composition. This double Manticore plus the Master, though, is going to be pretty bad. I mean, the Supreme Sorcerer's definitely got her work cut out for her. I'm just a little bit worried about this line of Dark Shards with the Cavalry in combination. Is a pretty potent kind of system to work from, to try and just wreck these light armor units as they approach. I mean, obviously the missiles are armor-piercing. Not that it matters much, but just the high DPS overall. But, yeah, I mean, these high-value flyers for John FB are just going to rush straight into the line of fire. Let's see if the Dark Shards are able to punish effectively. It looks like, ooh, the Manticore's just diving straight into business there, risking it for the full-on biscuit, and that's going to draw an immediate cavalry response. Keep in mind, though, this does mean that, yeah, the Seagull's Dark Elves are going to mostly miss their charge across the front line. Ooh, he does get a little counter charge at the last minute. Hellebron also pops her buff, which means her Karens are going to murder the other Karens. It's going to turn into a pretty bloody battle in general up in the air here. The, yeah, pretty decisively against the Supreme Sorceress of Seagauze. And I love this rush build from John FB. Absolutely love the Hellebron double Manticore rush. And these Dark Shards are desperately trying to put in some supporting fire here. The other Manticore is helping to disrupt one unit of Dark Shards. The Karens do peel off in a terror route, but we've got some Sisters of Slaughter already turning the flank and being able to start to dive back here. Sisters of Singing Doom also breaking through. Elsewhere in the front line, things is going a little bit better for Seagau's. Value-wise, he's actually trading okay. The loss of his Lord, though, would be pretty catastrophic. Let's see. Yeah, these Dark Shards are not going to be able to get set fire into Hellebrand herself, which is hugely beneficial to her, of course. And yeah, the Dragon Sorceress just gets destroyed, literally shattered here. Lucky not to be completely killed, and she does get felled by Hellebrand. That's going to be a massive dent in the leadership of Seagau's forces here, and his backline is in shambles as all these mobile infantry of John FB are able to get into this backline here. Cairns of Cain desperately trying to get back in position to try and salvage something here. Got plenty of Cold One Knights also mixed in, but I'm not sure how well they're going to be doing. They are fighting kind of 1v1 against these Sisters of Slaughter, which is not ideal for the sisters themselves, but Hellebrand's still on the field with about 50% HP left. The other Manticore likewise the same. But a lot of cavalry. Cold One Knights keeping with the Dark Riders here, helping to support, shut down these Sisters of Singing Doom, help eat up this Master. Yeah, it's definitely anyone's game still. Hellebrand is going to be tough to deal with for sure. But these Cold One Knights could potentially, if they get a good matchup and good engagement. And the Dark Shards, too, are particularly dangerous. So, yeah, smart of John to just chase them off. But that is going to cost him the rest of his kind of supporting units here. And Seagau's definitely has an opportunity to try and get back in this game. I mean, he's got sisters of his own, plenty of cavalry. Yeah, John FB is actually now technically behind on army damage value. So despite getting the snipe on the Dragon Lord, it's turning into quite the bloody mirror scrap here. Gotta say, I quite enjoy this. Yeah, Rage Mechanic is quite strong. Hellebrand gets a nice charge in there. Just going to pop her buff on those Sisters of Slaughter just to try and juice them up. I don't know, does that actually give leadership? It does give leadership, okay. Unfortunately, it's not enough to keep them on the battlefield. And suddenly, Seagau's is able to pretty much turn things around. I mean, Hellebrand in this late game, soloed out against all of this, is definitely not going to be able to get it done. AoE damage was just not there from the Sorceress of Fire, unfortunately. I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of magic go off. Maybe I just missed when the Burning Heads were used, but I really wish that Dark Elves had access to Lore of Metal. It really makes me sad they don't, because that would have been so good here. Like, I would definitely take Lore of Metal with Dark Elves consistently on rush builds. Searing Doom would be so nice in a mirror. Honestly, like, Spirit Leech 2 would have been pretty decent. Lore of Fire is definitely solid. Ooh, here we go. Quick Burning Head. Try and get back in this game. Hellebrand's not going quietly into that. Good night. Nice Cascading Fire Cloak. Get her up to 62 melee defense. So she's not taking so much damage in this big fight against the Corsairs and whatnot. Sorceress is charging in. Yeah, the anti-large AP of the Cold One Knights, though, once they get in range here, there also are a couple of Dark Shards very critically still alive, but this Master is going to try and deal with the one. Hellebrand trying to deal with all these infantry as well. It's definitely a terror. But, let's see. Is she going to be able to get away from these Cold One Knights? Oh, they're going to catch her on the ground, it looks like. She still is going to land her charge and terrify away Dark Shards, though. Yeah, I'd probably keep the Sorceress away, especially if the Corsairs with their anti-infantry bonus will blend her up in a big hurry. But another Cascading Fire Cloak there to keep Hellebrand's melee defense up, and what a scrap this has turned into. I must say, did not expect this from a Dark Elf mirror today, but it is what it is. Wow, Manticore comes back with 50% HP. I didn't even realize. I don't know what that Manticore has been doing this whole time, but it needs to come help Hellebrand immediately before she dies to these Cold One Knights here. The Cold One Knights can kill Hellebrand before this other Manticore gets within range to assist. Then it's all over for the Dark Elves, but the Manticore looks like it's actually going to be going for these Dark Shards instead of going straight to Hellebrand. Yeah, I think the Cold One Knights literally win this game right now. Possibly a critical error there from John FB as he let that other Manticore do whatever it was doing. I'm not really sure. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, that's painful, man. Hellebron goes down. She literally gets killed by the Cold One Knights there. And that's probably going to be game. And John FB is not giving up. But Manticore doesn't have the best leadership in the world. And, oof, those sisters get terrified away. Manticore just jumps straight into the Cold One Knights. And their anti-large bonus, once they get in that surround, will be more than enough. So it was a wild one for sure. Really nice back and forth. Kraken Elves, though, although they're not led by Kraken Face, still was able to win. What a game. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, Seagulls manages to weather the storm there. Cold One Knights definitely MVPs. Yeah, 2,000 on one, 1435 on another. Absolutely fantastic. The Dark Shards ended up being a little bit more bait than anything else. The Supreme Sorceress on the Dragon also just gets completely crushed by Hellebron, which is something I definitely enjoyed. The Manticore also pays for itself. Infantry-wise, ultimately just paying that much for all these light infantry. Their speed was tactically effective, but wasn't quite enough in terms of staying power to be able to actually just, you know, straight win. So it was a fun one for sure, though. Quite a bloody battle, it must be said. Those Corsairs get some really nice value on this side. These sisters performed a little bit better with their sport units, so definitely interesting. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. And it's going to be Strat Game versus Seagulls, of course, in the semifinal. Go ahead and transition on over to this. See here. Yeah, Seagulls is able to prevail. And the Strat Game will be joining us shortly here. Cold Ones are definitely the MVPs. Man, Cold One Knights are awesome in multiplayer. They're still not amazing in campaign, I think, because of how late you unlock them and some other factors, but they're very solid in multiplayer. Definitely fulfill their role extremely well. Anti-large AP cavalry, like, what more can you want from them? Still relatively squishy, but certainly not as much as they used to be. Anyway, go grab another drink of water. I'll be right back. You guys also, make sure you're staying hydrated out there. Alright, I am returned. Hopefully you all are well. Eerie's and Hounds, like dog-type units for the most part, have extremely small hitboxes. Yes. Humanites are definitely very cool. Most Empire gunpowder units are very cool. Most heavy cavalry units also are very cool. Favorite unit, though, still has to be Pistoliers. Alright, so John FB chooses Lizardmen, High Elves, Cathay, bans Ogres, Bretonia, and Cathay. And Strat Game's gonna go Skaven again and ban Lizards. So it's either Skaven versus Cathay or Ogre Kingdoms, and it looks like it's Cathay. There you go. We get started very shortly with that. Let's see what they can do in this matchup. Cathay versus Skaven is definitely an interesting one. Skaven, one of the few factions I feel like that can outshoot Cathay potentially. But maybe not. If Cathay goes with cannons and rain guns and a lot of nasty shooting, it can be pretty disgusting. But then Skaven also has pretty good fast rush potential. Yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. Okay. No, not necessarily. It's not that they have zero hitbox. It's just that they have very small hitbox. But, yeah, I mean, one Fury unit attacking a single entity will probably be enough to occupy all the space around that single entity, unless it's a huge one. Then you might need multiple units of Furies, but if you're attacking like a Horse Lord, no. I mean, they're small, but they're not, it's not a zero hitbox. There is technically a hitbox. Skaven have a lot of unit variety, that's true. There's a lot of things you can do with the Skaven. Yeah, Skaven are pretty interesting, pretty cool, honestly. Oh, of archers? Yeah, definitely. Like, hounds, it's even more noticeable. Like, if you multi-charge a unit of even, like, spearmen or any infantry unit that doesn't have a ton of armor, honestly, charge them from multiple directions with multiple units of hounds at the same time, and yes, you will eliminate them in seconds. Especially if it's like a bunch of undead, you know, dire wolves or whatever. Throw a quick Dance Macabre. Beautiful Prophet. Hey, Kislev do need some good DLCs, which is why I'm genuinely excited to see what they have coming up next for us in this upcoming DLC, whenever it comes. Yeah, Kislev is okay. Kislev is not amazing. Cathay is really good in land battles, but Kislev is just kind of okay. All right. Looks like from the Cathay side, a lot of artillery, not too much actually. A couple of rockets and a cannon. We got 5 Jade Warriors, 4 Peasant Spears, 3 Cavalry. Interesting. A lot of melee units, honestly. Maybe more than I was expecting. Especially, well, his only ranged units really are artillery, so we'll see how this goes. Not sure about this build, to be honest, but the rockets could be quite potent. Not nearly as good as the Empire rockets, but they're still, you know, against the light armor horde faction like Skaven, it makes sense on paper. The issue is, what if the Skaven brought... Okay, so we've got Ikit. Is he on a Doom Wheel? Oh, yes. Ikit on his Doom Wheel makes me so happy. A couple of Clan Rats here. We've got some Wolf Rats. 4 Poisonwind Globes and 3 Jezzails. So a lot of weapons teams here. Skaven Slave Slingers. Yeah, pretty straightforward, honestly. Quad Rat Ogres is pretty much a given. But I'm curious to see how this massive weapons teams pays off. Seems like on paper they should be pretty safe here. There's not like crossbow units necessarily to oppose them. Rockets will do some pretty good damage, most likely, but their loose formation and a little bit of armor might protect them somewhat. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe not, but... Rockets are definitely going to need to focus the weapons teams, and there's just so many of them that even if some of them do die, it probably will still be effective. The cavalry is definitely going to be a play. Strat Game will have to use his Rat Ogres and Wolf Rats to good effect to try and not get rolled over by the mobility of Seagoths here, but I'm genuinely curious. It's definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, a lot of units are not actually in harmony right here, which is interesting. But rockets are going to immediately smash a few of those cheaper units and immediately switch onto the weapons teams. So let's see how this goes. Ikit's also going to be subjected to the cannon. No, the cannon switches onto the Jezzails. So time to see the effect of rockets on. Yeah, it's not doing a lot so far. Not the best contact. Those shots did a little bit more, including hitting the Jezzails some as well. But Jezzails are going to come up and probably try and counter-snipe this artillery, I would imagine. As long as the globes can get into range with enough blasting power to crush these Jade Warriors, it should be okay, but it's definitely going to be tough. Yeah, this unit of Jezzails definitely taking a pounding from those rockets and the cannons and everything. But right now, Seagoths is kind of spreading the value out a little bit, which I think might be a mistake. Better to just focus fire, try and break some units, you know, rather than spread the damage all around and allow a bunch of them to get into range, because you can see already that the Jezzails are responding to these rockets, and the rockets are not necessarily accurate enough to completely shut down the Jezzails quickly. Ice Flensing Ruin here is going to be popped. Looks like the Dragon-Blooded Shingun is going to go just summon some Ancestral Warriors in the back line, which is fine. It's going to basically delete that unit of Jezzails there before they were able to do too much. I say before they were able to do too much. They've actually killed quite a few of these Fire Rain rocket models, or at least one model already, so yeah, the range situation's looking a little rough for the Skaven, but the Rat Ogres are able to combine well with the globes on this side. Fortunately, they do still eat a charge from these Jade Lancers, but let's see how the globes can respond to this. 1 unit, 2 units taking massive damage, but Ikit Claw's responding very quickly, and Ikit himself is really interesting here. The Cathayans don't necessarily have a great direct response in their build, and so far, the globes are doing okay. This side's definitely going better for Cathay. They've got now Jade Lancers in position to really start punishing some of these units, but that unit of Jade Lancers getting blasted by the globes, and you really can't slip up even for a single second against the globes. Wolf Rats here will have a nice opportunity to chase those Jade Lancers around and kind of maul them a bit. Rat Ogres getting caught up on Spheres is definitely not ideal, but this Cathayan artillery is all still, well, I say it's all online. It's actually not. The Rat Ogres are getting in to shut that down in a big hurry. This unit of rockets only has 1 unit model left still alive, so it's looking pretty rough. Definitely looking pretty rough. Yeah, the Fire Rain rockets just getting eaten up. Artillery getting eaten up in general for Cathay, and Strat Game looks to be executing fairly well on his planned kind of strategy here. Flanks winning out pretty decisively with the Rat Ogres and Globes working in combination, but a really nice summon here It's going to bog down 2 of these Poison Wind Globes at a pretty critical time. Got a couple of Jezzails coming back also that can move into range and try and counter-snipe this Dragon-Blooded Shugengun Lord. Let's see here. Wolf, Poison Rats, chasing the Jade Lancers in tandem with the Rat Ogres should be more than enough to deal with them. Meanwhile, these Clan Rats can collapse back and deal with those Peasant Long Spears here. Cathay's trying to regroup some units in this backline area here, try and get these Fire Rain Rockets and the cannons back online, which they are. Cannon should definitely be focused on Ikit right now, though. He's definitely going to be the most high-value target. Cannon should be accurate enough to consistently apply pressure to him. But, yeah, Cathay right now basically hasn't been in harmony this entire match. Got a handful of units now in harmony as they kind of fight close to these artilleries, but the build combination here for Cathay meant that, oh yeah, man, look at those globes. Ikit's globes. Ikit also using his nasty missile attack to really good effect here. He's kind of keeping it close by to the Shugengun Lord. I don't know if he can try and... He can't, you know, target the Doomwheel shooting attack to a specific target, but if you kind of, you know, keep that as the only target within range, then oftentimes you can kind of get him to shoot the specific target that you want him to. But just in general, Ikit's Doomwheel is fantastic. We see it just blend through some Jade Warriors right there. A lot of Cathayan infantry still left. A little bit of overblobbing here, but look at all these Skaven units also closing. Jezzail's out in space. Really should switch on to the Shugengun Lord, but at this point, Strat Games got this in the bag, pretty much. Ikit finally used as a chariot unit, yeah, to really good effect against a faction which has decent tools for dealing with chariot lords, but Ikit is on a whole nother level here. Just blasting away as he pulls out there. The Jade Warriors getting blasted as well. Multiple globes focusing fire there. Oh man, it gets brutal blast through the side of this blob of Cathayan infantry here. Yeah, I don't know if the Dragon Emperor will be too happy after this one. Y'all got beaten by a Steam Rat. How does that make you feel? Nice brass orb from Ikit. It's going to allow the globes to fire in here. Just savage this blob of infantry. And that'll be a win for Strat Game. Nice to see Skaven used to such great effect. Skaven are another one of those factions that you don't see people playing them super often because they're not the most popular faction, but they are so strong if used correctly. And Ikit definitely showcases that here. The Jezzails are mostly just bait. One of them still ends up paying for itself, though, which is nice to see. Of course, the Globes are the real power unit alongside the Rat Ogres here, just getting some work done. I guess the Rat Ogres don't really get that much work done, but Wolf Rats with Poisoning with 800 value is hard to argue with. Interesting. Very, very interesting. On Cathay's side here, the artillery largely struggled, didn't really pay for itself, and then the infantry, I mean, infantry against Skaven, like, I remember a discussion I had with Ryder Rohan years ago, with High Elves into Skaven, and basically his opinion was that you just shouldn't take infantry, basically, as the High Elves into Skaven, and Cathay's similar to High Elves. They're not exactly the same. Unfortunately, they just mostly have infantry options. Like, you really don't have a lot of opportunity to do a lot else. You could try and take, like, 12 archer units, but that's just going to be a little bit janky to protect. Unlike, say, Lothar and Seaguard, who are self-reliant and can protect themselves to a large degree. You know, cavalry of the High Elves is also better, I would say, arguably, than the Cathayan cavalry, so it's an interesting one for sure, but yeah, I might go with the 8 cavalry rush there, with 4 Jade Lancers, 4 Peasant Horsemen, take a bunch of archers to support them. Yeah, Skaven are very good into High Elves and Cathay, for sure. Very good at picking Cathay apart and forcing them into an uncomfortable position, because that's kind of the, you know, Skavens are all about not taking a fair fight. And Cathay is best in a fair fight, like a straight-up, you know, set-piece battle. So it actually makes sense from the theming of the factions that Skaven would probably have an advantage there. But let's see here. Let me take a look at the bracket once more. And it looks like we're just waiting on Big JP now for the finals. So get the actual scoreboard set up here. and we'll be right back. All right, we're here, set. Just waiting a little bit longer for Big JP to join. Should be along shortly. Yeah, things are going good. Hopefully you guys are feeling well also. Definitely been a fun night so far. We've had some wild games for sure. Been pretty good. Now we're on to the final, which is a best of 3. So should be in for a few more awesome games. Pillar of Bone, Galbraz, and Fey Fork. I don't know if I'm familiar with Fey Fork, actually. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be getting started with the final here very shortly. The best unit for Cathay is probably just regular shielded Jade Warriors, Sword and Shield Jade Warriors. They're so cost effective. The human version of Giselle is very good too. But, yeah, the Cathay and Infantry, especially Jade Warriors, for 500 points, it's insane how good they are, honestly. Favorite unit from Cathay's gotta be the stupid balloons. I don't know, I just love janky units in general, and the balloons are so pointless and ridiculous. So yeah, I've got to go with the balloons. In terms of just favorite, the best unit, like, you know, analytically the best unit, I'd probably have to say they're infantry, but Skyjunk, yeah, Skyjunk's fun for sure. Yeah, Jade Lancers are pretty good. They're not they're, for what they give you, they're great. Cost effective, decent, but lacking in any better cavalry definitely hurts Cathay. Yeah, Harmony is huge. So archers, spearmen, like I said, the basic 500 Jade Warriors in Harmony, especially with the Harmony of Lord kind of increasing, right? It's super strong. So, let's see what we got here. Alright, Strat Game's gonna choose Bretonnia Dark Elves Counts, ban Coast, Bretonnia, and Ogres. My lord. NC stands for Night Crew. Essentially, some people from BBB were dissatisfied with certain decisions and decided to leave to start their own clan. Nothing really that, I don't know, happens from time to time, so nothing really too extreme, but yeah, I believe it stands for Night Crew. Or it stands for New Clan. You decide. Yeah, BBB is still around. Just some people left to start a different clan. What's the equivalent of Jade Warriors in Harmony? Maybe like Chaos Warriors? They're pretty close to Chaos Warriors, actually. That's a pretty good comparison, even though Chaos Warriors are, 250 points more expensive. Yeah, Cool Umbrella is basically Count Dooku, if you think about it. Alright, so it's going to be Chaos Warriors versus Dark Elves. Or Bretonnia, rather. Wow, nice. Get to see some actual Bretonnia today, too. Fantastic. Yes, the Warriors. And the... Oh, perfect music to herald in Bretonnia. Zinchcaster's so good here. Is he? What do you just snipe characters? Like snipe the caster for... I would think Fate of Yuna. I would think... regardless of who you want as your lord or hero, you just make sure you have a Deathcaster with Fate of Yuna. That would be my that would be my 2 cents, but I'm certainly not an expert. Pink fire for archers. Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense. I'm not sure what the rules... I know there are some rules on Bretonnian Knights. I'm not sure what they are. I haven't checked the fruit rules recently to see. I'm guessing they're limited. Yuna is that good. Yeah, especially against like Grail Knights and stuff, given how good they are right now. Whatever you can do to kill Grail Knights, which Fate of Yuna is pretty effective for, what I understand. Grailtonia is real for sure. So we'll see how they do here. Against Dark Elves, Grail Knights have always been good, so... Or, sorry, Warriors of Chaos. They're definitely good now with their armor-piercing damage, but... One Grail of any kind. Okay. Thanks, Gojira. I was gonna say, I think it's like 1 or 2 Grails, literally, but... what else is very good in this matchup is Hippogriff Knights, especially now, so I'd be curious. I bet we'll see some Grails and Hippos both. What is it? Are you allowed 1 Hippo or 2? Goji, I think it's 2. So 1 Grail, 2 Hippos, I think is probably what I would go with here, assuming that's legal. Unless Hippos count as Grails. I really should look at the rules. Let's see. Let me pull them up here. Now, Fruit Rules is in the Discord. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the cheat sheets. Bretonnia. Okay, so... yeah, only 1 Hippogriff Knight, so... yeah, so I would say 1 Grail Knight, 1 Hippogriff Knight, and then 3 Royal Pegasus Knights. I don't know. I'm kind of memeing, but not completely. For those of you guys who are wondering, here is the most current version of the Fruit Rules that I'm currently looking at. This is the rule set for Land Battles tournaments. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had any chance to stream Red Salamander, it's true. I thought I was going to have quite a bit of free time in the month of July, and it turned out completely the opposite, so... It's alright, I appreciate Cool Umbrella for organizing this tournament series. Has been ongoing for quite some time, and allowing me to cast today, inviting me in. It's been fun, so I'd love to see Festus. Yeah, Festus is okay. I feel like he's riskier than he used to be, though, in this matchup. Ooh, Severed Claw, that's an interesting one, but here we are. Yeah, Festus, actually. He is risky, but... Alberic is going to be the response. Wow, with a single Grail Knight, Knights of Lionhearted, we've got the Companions of Cornell as well. So look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Alberic is certainly a bold choice, but I kind of like it, to be honest. Now, he does have 2 Nurgle champions to protect him, so Festus is going to be a little bit less risky here. The Hell Cannon is an interesting choice, for sure. It's an aggressive one. It's got a couple of spawns to try and protect it. Yeah, interesting. This Knights the Severed Claw, or sorry, the Severed Claw Aspiring Champions. Got just Chaos Warriors with Halberds and a Great Weapon Marauder, so fairly basic, kind of standard build. As for Bretonnia, yeah, Companions of Cornell, with Alberic, lots of anti-large, spears and halberds both. And, of course, extra anti-large from the Raid of Bordelais. Plus 12. We've got the Knights of the Lion-Hearted, and then, of course, the Grails. Archers will kill everything. Okay, yeah. Certainly the Hell Cannon, if it can land, like, one shot is enough to... If it hits square on the Peasant Archers, it's probably enough to rout them. Question is, can you rout all 4 of them before they get into range and just shoot the Hell Cannon to death? Yeah, I'm not sure. Both players are kind of going for a defensive geometry, so we'll see how this plays out here. Festus Healing Bob is going to be quite disgusting, but at the same time, I'm not really confident the Chaos Spawn are going to last very long, and I guess we'll see about the Chaos Warriors as well, but I'm not super confident in them either. The Aspiring Tzeentch Champions are definitely a solid pick, but I gotta give it to Bretonnia on this initial game. We'll see. Excellent. Hell Cannon. Yeah, gonna be hitting the archers immediately. It's definitely the right call. Let's see the effect on target. We're getting close. Very solid. I guess not enough to just rout them straight up. I was mistaken. With the Grell Relic nearby supporting their leadership, they're a lot less disturbed by this shot than they otherwise would be. Peasant's Duty is also active with those knights nearby. So the knights are going to get out of range and their leadership will drop, but those stacking leadership effects for Bretonnia, their archers, are quite good, allowing them to stay on the field. And notice how Strat Game's keeping his Grell Relic specifically with the archers so they don't get routed here. Very smart. Very, very good Bretonnian play here. Double Grell Relic. You know, months ago I would have said that's a terrible idea, but given how cheap they are right now and using them specifically to make sure the archers don't rout here to the Hell Cannon, definitely a really solid use of that. But can you guess? Those of you guys in the chat, pop quiz. What's the weak point of this formation here? Can you guess? I'm giving you a big ol' hint as to the weak point of this formation, of where Bretonnia should charge to try and compromise this defensive position. And oh, look at that! There's some Grail Knights. Oh, those poor Marauders. They 100% deserve it, but still. That is going to now pull these Chaos Spawn out of position. A beautiful side charge now from the Knights of the Lion-Hearted. And the Severed Claw are just going to go ahead and move into this backline area where the Grail Knights of the Lion-Hearted are cycle charging. Quick in and out, though. And notice how the Hell Cannon's just being wrecked by archer fire here. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Chaos is playing it way too close. They needed to come forward, which would then expose them to cavalry counterattacks and flanking and everything else. But yeah, Festus is going to go ahead and unleash some magic here. He did manage to rout one archer and now a second, but the Hell Cannon is down. Alberic also going for a nice charge in on Festus, just trying to snipe him if he can. But let's see, how are those Grail Knights doing? The Grail Knights and the Knights of the Lion-Hearted are not actually doing a whole lot here. They've managed to get some damage on the Marauders, but they're also pulling a lot of this value away here, so at this point, Strat Game is more than happy to just sit back and take advantage of his archers. Are the archers actually trying to kill Festus? I mean, it makes sense. He doesn't have a whole lot of armor. Archers, if they can get good hits on him, will actually be able to take him down, but let's see here. The armor-piercing cavalry and just other cavalry of Bretonnia just hanging back for the time being, not wanting to overcommit. Yeah, now the Marauders have the Severed Claws and these Chaos Spawns stacked on top of them. The Festus is going to continue to respond to the archers, but yeah, archers now can start to focus fire on the spawns. That's going to be a great target for them. Looks like Big JP finally going to just go ahead and attack here. Try and move his forces up to engage. Start to blend through some of these Bretonnian infantry. Yeah, Warriors of Chaos have been delaying their charge a little bit too long. I mean, granted, with Festus just kind of healing, there's an argument to be made that he should just sit and soak all of the ammo if he can. I don't know if he has enough healing to actually do that, but Right now, the Chaos Spawn are mostly doing fine. He's also setting some brutal Plague Breaths there. Yeah, the Pestilent Decay. Stream of Corruption, that's it. Pestilent Decay's the Skaven one. Anyway, yeah, the Warriors are going to get into combat here. And you can see he's kind of lurking, looking for rear charge potential. But there's no Foot Squires here. That said, Men-at-Arms with Pole Arms should be able to trade okay. Nothing too crazy, but maybe the Archers even should focus on the Halberds. It's hard to say. Really, there's no bad options. Maybe Severed Claw? Given they don't have a missile block chance, and it's going to be pretty tough for Bretonnia to actually kill them in melee. Some nice Stream of Corruptions there. Oof, those Grail Knights just baiting beautifully, feinting in with their charges and not actually charging in. But Big JP is not necessarily taking the bait right now, not issuing any attack orders, really. But, oh, this is potentially bad. The Damsel of Life gets cornered. But Albrecht going to swiftly charge in and immediately reinforce with the Companions of Quenelle. Their extra anti-large bonus. Yeah, this one Nurgle champion just gets absolutely massacred. Almost half his HP is gone in seconds. And it looks like the Chaos Spawns are continuing to take damage from the arrows there without having really contributed anything meaningful. Grail Knights once again getting up and around. But another Stream of Corruption there. I don't know, I might start streaming some of these peasants, honestly. Or some of the Men-at-Arms, rather. I mean, the Peasant Archers are definitely still firing and going to be effective, but yeah, I'm not really sure at this point. We'll see. It's going to take some time, so go ahead and grab a beverage, grab a snack. Severed Claw healing from Festus is going to take quite some time to try and get through. Strachan being smart and not risking too much of his value in this early phase. Just using his archers as much as he can. Likewise, not over-blobbing too much here. Although he could go for full-on infantry envelopment. And Grail Knights with their perfect vigor as well. Don't really care too much about continuously repositioning. Ooh. Ooh, there we go. Albrecht jumps in for a risky biscuit. Let's see if Nurgle bites. He does manage to get a nice charge in there into the unbraced Halberds, mostly able to get away scot-free with both mobile units there. Albrecht and the Grail Knights both. Another quick in and out by those Knights of the Lion-Hearted as well, and it's looking pretty tough. A lot of those Chaos Warrior models got catapulted into the backline where they're matched up like 4v1 against these Men-at-Arms Halberds, which is just not a comfortable situation for them to be in. So Grail Knights also have a little downhill angle they can charge at here, which is going to be absolutely devastating. Brutal rear charge there. Rinse and repeat. Looks like the spears are also coming around now for full envelopment. So yeah, Bretonia's definitely got numbers on their side, position on their side. But these Exalted Heroes get out away from their support units and singled out against the Grail Knights. Ooh, Albrecht smells blood in the water. He's going to immediately charge. Try and support those Grail Knights. He himself lands some attacks there on the Nurgle champs. And at this point, it's just, yeah, all hands on deck for the Bretonians to try and win this. Strat Game's pretty well ahead on value, but I still think, I mean, I'm looking at the Aspiring Claws here, wondering how Bretonian's going to actually kill them in the late game. Right now, they've taken basically no damage. So the idea, I guess, is you got to thin out all these regular Chaos Warrior Halberds first. And then, once they're gone, then you should be able to multi-charge Severed Claw from a bunch of units at the same time. But all the archers pretty much are done for at this point. So we'll see how it goes from there. Nurgle characters are going to be quite tanky also. Chili-flavored pistachios. Yum. Whiskey and pistachios. Yeah, I'm also eating pistachios. How did you guys know? Pistachios are definitely the best, one of the best nuts. Pistachios and cashews are probably my favorite nuts, to be honest. pecans are also really good, like, in something, but I don't know. I don't necessarily love pecans by themselves. Another nice Pestilent Breath. Wow, that did a lot of damage. And, I mean, I know Bretonia's got a pretty nice little lead here, but Big JP is scrapping back, and this build setup here makes it really tough to kill. Finally, the Aspiring Claws here are starting to take some HP damage. Their barrier has been their, you know, the only thing they've been taking pretty much up until this point, but starting to see some of the halberds breaking. And the Grail Knights and Knights Lionhearted getting a nice big charge there. Another Pestilent Breath through the Bretonians. Looks like we're going to see a regrowth on those Grail Knights. So, you're an almond hater. To be honest, I'm picky about almonds. I love almonds, certain almonds, like almond milk. It's pretty good, you know, like you know, around Christmas time when you get those roasted almonds with like cinnamon. Those are freaking delicious, but I do think almonds are maybe a little bit overrated. I might agree with you on that one. Oof, look at the beautiful sandwiching charge here from Bretonia. Albric with his companions and the Grail Knights charging from both sides. Get a little bit of lag here. I bet you do, Seb. I bet you enjoy all those nuts. Stream of corruption, yes. And it's happening slowly but surely. Bretonia is starting to grind down these halberds. Bretonian infantry though just got absolutely massacred, man. It's not really surprising, but just, yeah, the kill totals have got to be pretty high here in general. And not as high as I would have thought, given how many infantry units Bretonia has lost. Somehow this one Chaos Dwarf Hellcannon crew member is still alive as well, which is just amazing. But yeah, man, look at that balance of power. Big JP is grinding back and actually getting ahead on value now. Grail Knights getting caught here against all these halberd units. It's just, it's pretty disgusting, to be honest. Appropriate enough for a Nurgle kind of focused build here. This is grinding, indeed. Hey, what's up, human boy? Good to see you. Oof, look at that side charge from the Grail Knights. Quick pull out. Problem is, all these units are just healing, you know, as the battle goes on. Which we're going to see another regrowth on these Grail Knights here. Overcasted for additional healing. And the Grail Knights are cycle charging in again. Companions from the front side. Gonna have to get out quick though before they take too much damage. And I don't know. Big JP really just needs to stand in a big blob and not take too much damage. And I think he's doing a great job of that. It was a blob build, yes. Yes, it was a blob build. So far, not going great, but it is going. Yeah. Sniping Festus is tough here, but the two Nurgle champions are really what's keeping Festus safe at this point. Nice, good terror out. Get some of those halberds off the field. Strat Game just needs to try and beat down these two full halberd units. That will get a lot of these unit models out of the way. And he can bring in his other support units and try and get rid of these Nurgle champions and then finish off Festus. Definitely still has a chance to win, but man, those aspiring champs with the claws are going to be quite strong. Ooh, might be a good time for an attempt at a terror route here from... Yeah, companions are still fighting. We've got the Knights Lionhearted as well on a nice downhill. So it's going to be rough and bloody. There's blood and bile all over the ground here. And it does look like, yeah, this last unit of Chaos Warrior Halberds is still holding out for the time being, but they're definitely in rough shape. Companions of Cornell get a charge into those Chaos Halberds, and will it be enough? Ooh, it's going to be a tough battle for them, even with 49 melee defense. Not sure they'll be able to win that and break those Chaos Warriors. It does look like they'll be able to, perhaps. Grail Knights, quick hit-and-run charge here. We've got some more Spearmen moving in. They're wisely held in reserve for a little bit of time here. Rail Relic also. Oh, yeah, man, those Companions ended up taking a lot of damage in that fight. Probably more than was worth it. But they do shatter the Chaos Halberds there. Rail Relic getting ganged up on by the single entities of Chaos here. But that last unit of Chaos Warriors is now off the field. So it comes down to just the aspiring champs. Let's see if Stratgame can cycle charge them out. It's going to be tough for sure. Got to be real careful not to take big hits on Albric, or he could very quickly run into army losses. Let's see. Basically full health for all the characters for Chaos here. These 3 companions can try and chase off Chaos Halberd warriors. But here we go. Nice, straight into the Severed Claws. Nice hit and run on them. Oof. Alberic has a rough land right into the middle of all of them. Oof, yeah, he's taking some big hits already. And I think Big JP is going to pull this one out with a disgusting blob build. We'll see, but it's not looking too promising right now. Does not have anything that can potentially kill those Aspiring Claws. Yeah, the combination of their own tankiness and Festus' healing plus the barrier means they literally just don't take damage over the entire fight, so it's going to be a win for Big JP there. And disgusting amount of kills on Festus. Yeah, the Aspiring Claws also did quite well. I mean, obviously the Halberd Warriors are just a great choice here in general. I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily hate the pick of the Halberds, but I think Foot Squires are good enough that they're warranted to bring in this matchup against Halberds. I don't know. Maybe you guys will disagree, but I think having some Foot Squires in this matchup definitely would have benefited Stratgame quite a bit. But let's see how he can respond to that. Big JP going to go up 1-0 on the series, and let's see where it takes us next. Just 1 second, we'll get the music back in here. Excellent. Just 1 second, guys, I'll be right back. Yeah, I am actually cold and aloof. Like, can someone bring me a jacket, please? I'm quite cold and quite aloof also. Excellent. Picks and bans are being done as we speak, so we'll give them a minute to consider all that. So, curious to see how many of you guys have been following along with the Pharaoh content updates. Anyone? Anyone care about the... I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember what reveals they've done. So, goes to show you how much I care. I mean, I will be covering Pharaoh when it comes out a little bit. Not too much, but I would imagine most people watching this stream right now, and if you're watching this on playback, let me know in the comments below. Do you care about Pharaoh at all? Zero interest from most of you. Yeah, that's what I would have figured. Salted you asked. Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, it's an odd choice for sure. I mean, there were some people who, you know, after Troy wanted Bronze Age but bigger with more cultures. And we're getting that now, but I don't know. There not that many people actually wanted it. Is there a time period or setting I'd like to see that has not been done before in Total War? Probably my number one would be, like, Renaissance, because, like, Medieval ends, like, right when the Renaissance starts, and then you pick it up in Empire, so, like, 1500 to 1700 hasn't really been explored much in Total War. Like, that kind of Pike and Shaw era, I think would be super interesting. $1 million BC. Yes. Alright, so it looks like Strat Games on Skaven again. See how he can do there. And Big JP goes to Dark Elves. Yeah, you know, we all want dinosaur Total War. Not like Lizardmen, but just like, you know, regular dinosaurs. You will see. I expect there to most likely be a 40k Total War game, as long as... Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I was very confident of that before Warhammer 3 came out, but given the launch of Warhammer 3, makes me a little bit less sure. It is more popular than fantasy, it's true, but I don't know. Just with how badly the launch of Warhammer 3 went, I think Games Workshop at least has some reason to reconsider giving Creative Assembly the rights to make a Warhammer 40k Total War. Alright, let's take a look at these builds here for the Dark Elves. Chili Boy, nice to see. Chill of Sontar, not a very common pick these days, but it's here. The Frosty Hydra, very nice to see. We've got a couple of Cold One Knights, Supreme Sorceress on a Dragon, Reaper Bolt Throwers, some Black Art Corsair Handbows, Bleak Swords, and Red Spears, along with a couple of Dark Riders. Kind of reminds me of a Falcon build, honestly, and that makes me very happy. Yeah, we've got Ikit, Chieftain, Packmaster, all in a triple single entity blob. We've got some Poisonwind Globadiers, Clan Rats up front, Clan Rat Spears in the back, and some Rat Ogres. 4 in total. Yeah, I mean, the Chill of Sontar is cool to see, but I do worry that it's going to get eaten up by enemy single entities in this one. The Cold One Knights, I don't think are going to be able to protect effectively, especially against all these Poisonwind Globes, and looking at the globes, Big JP doesn't have a great answer against them, which is a little bit odd. I mean, it's a unit that you would expect in this matchup pretty much every single time. They can be outranged by something like Shades or Dark Shards, but yeah, I don't know. In this matchup, given the mobility situation, I might go with Dark Rider crossbows so that they can reposition and stay away from Rat Ogres, but still have enough range and damage to be able to nuke the Poisonwind Globes. Poisonwind Globes are 85. I think, what is the Dark Elf? The crossbow horsemen are what? 110 range? 120? Something like that? Anyway. Let's see how this goes. All right. Looks like the bolt thrower is going to be teeing off on Ikit Claw right off the bat, which definitely makes sense. It's going to be putting a little bit of pressure on him over time, but Chili Boy's coming forward. A little bit risky here. I'm not sure exactly what the intention is, but maybe looking to line up some breath attacks, perhaps, against those Poisonwind Globes. Try and delay them a little bit with the Frost Breath. It does some damage, but unfortunately Chili Boy is quite slow and unresponsive, so it's going to take him some time to turn around and get out of that situation there. And yeah, Ikit is just maneuvering, trying to dodge those bolt thrower shots as much as possible. Dragon Lady up in the air so far hasn't gotten any breath attacks off, but it looks like she might be lining up a side-shotting breath through the globes. Globes are going to make their presence felt, though, and just start to blast the sad swords. Yeah, it's going to be pretty devastating in the front line, honestly. Nice breath attack does hit some of those Poisonwind Globes, but it's definitely not going to be enough. Ikit, though, is actually getting focused by that bolt thrower more than I thought he would. Definitely quite interesting. Chill of Sontar moving in potentially for another breath attack, perhaps. The Supreme Sorceress is going to land a little bit late, but let's see how the Cold One Knights can do here. They're charging in straight into the teeth of those Poisonwind Globes. Potentially. Yeah, the Globes are definitely pretty nasty right now. Look at them just rain in death and destruction all over these Cold One Knights as they kind of get blobbed up around the Packmaster. Well, let's see here. The Dragon trying to get through, start to shut down some of these Globes. The Rat Ogres for Strat Game are a little bit slow to react here, but they definitely have the opportunity to get in and help out significantly here. Nice Flensing Ruin hits multiple units, especially those Old One Knights is pretty decent, but the Chill's actually doing a decent job kind of anchoring this. Not taking too much damage, but definitely tanking fairly well. And allowing the Dark Elves trying to get through and start to shut down some of these Globes. That said, the Rat Ogres do now respond to get tangled up with the Cold One Knights. Corsairs aren't having the best line of sight to be able to shoot in here, but Howling Warp Gale is going to lock this dragon down and prevent her from moving. Soul Stealer, though, is going to be popped in response in order to heal the Supreme Sorceress. It'll do quite a bit of damage as well, so yeah, Ikit's definitely facing a tough time right now. That said, value-wise, kind of across the field, Skaven are definitely eating up this build in a big hurry. The Poisonwind Globes have been able to get back online for the most part, and pretty much all the support units for Dark Elves are starting to evaporate. Yeah, that Supreme Sorceress, the engagement gets turned around on her real quick, and she gets routed off. So that's probably a game for Strat Game, I would imagine. Okay. Yes, okay. So the Skaven continuously pushing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind keeping Ikit with the other single entities in a big blob. I mean, he's not the best at single entity fights like that, but gives some extra incentive for the dragon to stay and fight there, potentially. But rat ogres are now eating up the... Oh, the... Oh, the globes. Globes are so nasty. They just wreck those cavalry on the approach. Rat ogres eating up the Reaper bolt throwers there. And it's a tough situation for sure. Looks like we're going to see another Soul Stealer attempt to heal the Dragon Sorceress back up a bit. But of course, the Packmaster is also healing these Clan Molder monsters. I don't know. I don't think Strachan really needs to worry too much. I think he's got this one pretty much in the bag. Chill of Sontar facing some leadership issues. Also tanked a lot of damage, but is pretty close to its healing cap already. That poison from the Packmaster's Brood Horror here is too much. Another Howling Warp Kill. Gonna lock Dragon Lady in place. Yeah, dragons are pretty scary for sure. Billy Boy's just trying to maneuver potentially to get his breath attack off, but it's too little too late. And Strachan evens out the series with a 1-1. Go ahead and update the scoreboard there. And yeah, it's going to go to a game 3, folks. Nasty, nasty Skaven build. I actually don't totally hate the Dark Elf build, but I think I'd maybe change some elements out. Maybe take less of these Corsairs and take more Bolt Throwers, honestly. The Bolt Throwers seem to be the bright spot, and if you could have applied a little bit more Bolt Thrower pressure from the start, I think that's very beneficial for sure. So, I don't hate the rest of the build, to be honest. How would you deal with globes? I mean, with the build he had, it was going to be pretty tough. I think he did the best he could, honestly, but I think more Bolt Throwers so you can try and pressure the globes from long range. I don't know. Crossbows. Yeah, crossbows is a good one, too, if you can protect them. They do outrange the globes, and high armor-piercing scatter shot means you can mow them down very quickly. But, interesting. Yeah, final game now upcoming. The final game of the finals, of course. It is a best of 3, so we've got one more to get to. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and grab one more last drink of water. You also, this is your official reminder to hydrate yourself. I'll be right back. All right. I'm returned. Well, there's a lot of people streaming Total War content all week, so definitely have plenty of opportunities to have some fun. Me, myself, I'm not really a big drinker. A lot of years I've completely abstained from drinking for health reasons. These days I drink a little bit here and there, really not much. But yeah, a drink of choice lately has been whiskey also, specifically bourbon. Yeah. There's a place near here that does these, like, canned, like, pre-canned Moscow mules that are very good also. Like, dangerously good. What's your guys' cocktails of choice? Do you go for a cocktail? Do you just go for the straight drink? You go beer, wine? Honestly, I don't mind a nice light white wine. If it's like a hot day, nice cold, crisp white wine to refresh. For me, I tend to get heartburn if I drink the like really acidic red wines, so I tend to stay away from that. But yeah, interest does seem very low in Total War. Hey, 725 from Tenebrification. Nice. Finally made it to one of your streams. Thanks for all the years of entertaining commentary. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching. You guys are the reason I do this. Well, and also because I enjoy it. But the fact that you enjoy it makes me enjoy it even more. Vodka cran. That's delicious. No drinky. Yeah, that's me. I'm much more of a enjoyer of the herb than alcohol, personally, but that's just me. Whiskey sour is also delicious. Espresso martini is my fiance's favorite drink, for sure. Manhattan. Ooh, a rich port and sherry. I see you, Red Salamander. You're so British. I love it. Stouts or scotch. Yeah. See, Malvia, I'm the opposite. I love whiskey, but tequila and I are not friends at all. A dirt block. What is a dirt block? That sounds delicious. Generally, yeah. The drink looks like the color of dirt. It's usually like chocolate or coffee or something delicious, but dirt block, I'm curious. Yeah, being Brazilian also, I'm a big fan of, like, caipirinhas. Caipirinhas, proper pronunciation. Warpstone cocaine for strat game. Makes sense. Speaking of which, strat game picks Greenskins, Ogres, and Coast. Bans Dwarfs and Cathay. Last match is a pick 3, ban 2, so let's see what Big JP responds with. Sim, se brasileiro. Eu. My Portuguese is pretty terrible, I'm gonna be honest, but have not stayed up on it. Yes, family's Brazilian. I've lived in the U.S. for most of my life, but I do speak a bit. Falo um pouquinho. Eu não falo muito bem. It's not great, to be honest, but I could get by. Like, if I got stranded in Brazil and I couldn't come back to the U.S. for whatever reason, I would be able to survive. Yeah, I was born in São Paulo. My family moved to the U.S. when, I mean, my mom's American, my dad's Brazilian. Family moved to the U.S. when I was less than a year old, so didn't really have a chance to pick up the language by living there naturally, and fortunately my parents didn't speak it a ton with me at home, so, like, I can understand quite a bit. Like, if I'm listening to a conversation, I can pick up on, you know, 50 to 60% of what they're saying, but I'm not necessarily fluent speaking. Probably should be, but... So, the dirt block, half ounce of French vanilla Kahlua. Alright, you already sold me. 1.5 ounce of amaretto, 3 ounces of chocolate milk, Oreo cookie crumbs. Yes! That sounds freaking delicious. Actually, no. Brazilians are either good at football or soccer, for my American viewers, volleyball or car racing. And I think I got the car racing gene, honestly, because I'm pretty bad at volleyball and football. But, yeah. Yeah, that dirt block sounds very good. I might have to actually write that one down and go try it myself at some point. Coast versus Bretonia looks like it's going to be the final game, so... That is absolutely fantastic. Pixel bar. That sounds fun. I'd be down for a gaming bar. I don't know. I don't think we have anything like that here in Salt Lake. Although you would think we have a lot of nerds here, so I would think that something like that would be pretty popular. But yeah, Bretonia, historically, this has been kind of a tough matchup for them because zombie halberds are so cost effective. But Bretonian archers are also really good here. And with the new Grails as they are, I don't think I've tried this matchup, actually, since the Grail Knights got changed, so maybe things are different now. I mean, I guess the Grails have enough mass to just punch through zombies wherever they want and kind of do their own thing, right? But I'll have to look around. Maybe there is one here in Salt Lake that I just don't know about, but... Or maybe I'll have to start one. The only thing is, getting a liquor license here in the state of Utah is impossible. They give out, like, 2 or 3 a year. And so, like, I think all the businesses that want to apply to be able to serve liquor, it's just... Yeah. There are bars, especially downtown, but yeah, Utah's alcohol laws are a little bit silly, so... Gaming bars seems simply better. I tend to agree, yeah. I definitely think that that sounds good. All right, this is it, folks. Strap yourselves in. Gonna be a bumpy ride. Yes, perfect track to take us into this match. See what these guys have lined up. Okay. Nice. $3.50 is a great price, actually. That's a very good price for a cocktail. Yeah, I've been drinking, and you non-Americans are probably gonna just die at the thought of this, but you've tried root beer before. If you can imagine root beer with bourbon, it's extremely rich, pretty heavy. Definitely not at all healthy, but I've been doing a little bit of bourbon and root beer recently. I wish it was a Lizardmen's theme. It should be. Yeah, this specific track, I believe, is from the Medieval 2 Americas DLC. America's expansion, which was definitely one of the best for sure. Super amazing mechanics and, yeah, just really interesting in general. But let's go ahead and jump now into the final of the final for today's Friday Night Fights. Raponce is coming in hot with Felix and a caster. Looks like one Grail, one Companion, as we saw before, and a whole horde of infantry. As for the rest, see what they got. Yeah, just a bunch of archers, 6 units of archers, Rail Relic, and then we've got some Battle Pilgrims and Peasant Mobs in the front line. As for the coast, coming in hot with tons of zombie halberds, as is expected. Animated Hulks, we've got 1 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them. 3 mortars to blast archers. And then Admiral Polearm on foot, 2 bombers. Pretty straightforward. Crabs are definitely going to be a key here. Triple Rotting Promethean gun mobs. Hey, what's up, Enlighten? Yeah, I don't, unfortunately haven't been able to stream as often as I would like in this last month, but I'm hoping that later in the year we can get to streaming more often. Unfortunately, things are just going to continue to be busy for me for the next couple months, so I probably won't be hosting a ton of events on my own. I will say, next week, tune in for the first official clan war for the Night Crew, NC, which is Cool Umbrella's new clan. And they're going to be having a clan war against XMT, the legends themselves. So it should be a great time. Definitely tune in for that next weekend. I'll put an official announcement out in a couple days on my community tab and talk about it in all my videos upcoming this week. So yeah, I mean, this build is pretty nasty. It's got explosives, it's got halberds, it's got mass to stop night charges from multiple directions. It's got the Admiral just flexing out here in the open space. He's got crabs. Oh, and then this spread attack from Big JP is all over the field. No, thankfully no baby on the way for me, just a wedding. Which is, yeah, it's fine. We're also, you know, obviously all the stuff that goes along with the wedding, lots of parties and planning and wedding moon. Wedding moon, honeymoon, you know what I mean. I can speak English. It's been a stream today, folks. How long have we been going for? Like 3 hours? Yeah, 2.5. Okay. Wedding moon. You know what I mean. Oh yeah. The mortars immediately just blasting peasant mobs is... Oh, the crabs. Yes. Animated Hulks, too, are definitely going to be fairly solid here, supporting these halberds. Bloated coral beasts. Yeah. Popping off. And those mortar shots are just blasting peasants for now. Oh, are we going to get some shots in on the archers? Decent hits. Yeah, really decent hits on that volley. Yeah, I definitely see the appeal of that, and my fiance and I legitimately did discuss doing something like that, just like eloping or doing like a, you know, ceremony with literally just us, very small. But even as it is, I mean, we're having a relatively small ceremony, but it's still like I've got some you know, friends in real life that want to take me to Las Vegas for a little bachelor's trip, and like, you know, got some family coming in from Brazil, traveling internationally, so we'll probably do some extra stuff with them. And, you know, weekends are going to be tied up for me quite a bit going forward, so that's why I'm really happy I got to cast today, and I'm really happy I'm getting to cast next weekend for the clan war. Good stuff. Anyway, the archers are getting properly blasted by the mortars, which is definitely the right call. Let's see if the archers can close in the distance to shoot the mortar crews to death before they themselves are completely destroyed. Yeah, guns plus AP charge defense. The crab guns can definitely... I mean, they'll continue shooting while they're in melee, and people kind of discount the crab's shooting attack, but it's pretty potent. I mean, it's 3 shots, 16 AP per shot. It's definitely enough to kind of pick away at these units over time. Plus, like you said, charge defense, expert charge defense in the case of the ROR. So, yeah, just charge defense against large for the regular ones, so they're really good against the knights here, for sure. Hey, thanks, Goji. I appreciate it, man. Much, much appreciated. Yeah, it's been amazing. My fiance is super supportive of me doing this, which is just awesome. Really makes a huge difference for sure. But wow, the Bretonnians are almost immediately able to compromise this position, as I kind of foresaw. I mean, they're able to just kind of go wherever they want to. Zombies are going to be relatively slow to react, and the mass is attempting to keep things back for the time being. But bombers do get eaten up pretty quickly here, as do the mortars. Rail Knights, just absolute chads that they are, really do not care too much about any of this. Bombers are throwing their bombs, but it's primarily just hitting mobs right now. That said, if we take a look at the monstrous infantry for Vampire Coast, they're really not taking much damage at all. Lamprey's Revenge, animated hulks all across the field, mostly doing just fine. So, the Pirate Lord is just a regular admiral with the polearm, generic, non-Noctilus, basically. But he's just kind of standing around right here now in the center. Not like he could really do much except chase knights around for the time being. But I would probably at least get him in combat, maybe against these battle pilgrims, just to provide a little bit of extra value there. Mortars, nice mortar shot straight into the middle of those peasant bowmen. This mortar crew is still online, but look at his focus. If I keep the attack targeting range up, you can see here the mortars are being focused by the peasants, but the peasants are also being focused by the mortars, so it's quite the shootout at this point. Strat Game, though, pulling a pretty decisive lead on army damage value, as he's able to just work down a lot of this Bretonnian infantry and kind of range units and stuff. The cavalry is still relatively healthy, but companions have taken quite a bit of damage. Knights of the Realm have taken quite a bit of damage as well. Rail Knights are still doing great, but we'll see how long that lasts. This little pocket of archers right here is also quite dangerous. They're shutting down this mortar, and this other mortar is also being shut down, so the Empire Coast is not going to have a lot of capacity to respond to this blob of archers. But it looks like Strat Game is sending out a unit of bombers to go try and explode them, perhaps. Not really sure. But the crabs and the hulks. Yeah, I like Noctilus here for the summon. Melkos is quite good against the cavalry. I agree on all points. And it's looking pretty good for the coast right now. I'm not really seeing too many weaknesses, and the Bretonnians are just starting to run out of steam pretty heavily. I mean, even these Grail Knights, Knights of the Realm now, all have taken huge damage. Raponce and Felix are going to be continuing to grind it out through the center, but they're really not contributing a ton here. I guess here's the Grail Knights, still relatively healthy. A really nice overcast invocation of the heck, though, to keep those Rotting Prometheans fighting at full strength. Grail Knights are going to charge through and get into the Lamprey's Revenge here. Bombs respond. And keep in mind, the bombs do give flaming attacks, technically. So, don't see... Yeah, they are on fire here. the Grail Knights, which means the healing from that Earth Blood was reduced. It's an interaction not a lot of people think about very often, but it is actually coming into play here, even as those bombers now crumble away. There's still one more unit of bombers here to provide some fire damage to decrease that healing, make sure those Grail Knights can't just grind it out with that Earth Blood. But yeah, it's looking really good for Vampire Coast right now. Lamprey's Revenge tanking out that charge just fine. Vampire Coast been the latest on your Faction Crush. Really enjoying them. Dude, Vampire Coast is so good right now. People have been sleeping on them for a while, I think. They're probably one of the lowest picked factions overall, I would say. They're probably one of the least popular factions for people to play as. Yes. Let's soak up some Yep, I can English. Let's soak up some cinematics of these knights making their chivalrous last stand against the foul horde of crabs and these disgusting zombie polearms. Yeah, Coast is definitely a well-equipped faction to deal with what Bretonnia can bring to the table. If I were going to go with an all-hero build, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with the Nurgle heroes. The Nurgle champions with Festus, honestly, probably is one of the best combos because you get passive healing, and the Nurgle dudes themselves are quite good combatants. Greenskins, Gobbo heroes, yeah, you could take a bunch of them. You can take a whole horde at 700 gold apiece. Yeah, they're cheap single entities too. Honestly, like a horde of Empire captains might not be that bad. They're extremely cheap as well. Or a horde of warrior priests would have quite good AoE damage potential because you could keep spamming Soulfire over and over and over and over again. Hey, what's up, Romulan? Good to see you. You're joining just for the end. And you know what? This actually... I thought this was going to be a decisive victory for Vampire Coast, but the grind is real right now, and these Grail Knights are just about to their healing cap. They've been just crunching through this matchup here. Granted, there's still enough zombie polearms to likely beat them, but you got to give credit to those Grail Knights. And the bombers, critically, are not necessarily using their bombs to decrease healing here. Instead, they're trying to chase down those peasant archers, forcing them to be kited around a little bit, which means that Earth Blood, I mean, I guess it's not affecting the Grail Knights very much if they're at their healing cap, right? So it's all good. Crabs versus Knights. Yeah, I'm pretty sure... yeah. I'm pretty sure I've also seen those illuminations in the manuscripts of the Knights fighting giant crabs. Oh, yeah. Looks like Bretonnia's valiant stand is going to come to an end. Grail Knights get routed off there. Now it's just Felix and Rapunzel. Beautiful game. Absolutely beautiful game. I love the zombies just getting sent flying constantly. Crab's doing some crab foo over here. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, 2v1 Rapunzel and Henri versus the Admiral, at least if they were soloed out, would be pretty nasty for the Admiral, but obviously he's got all these support units as well. Yeah. Warhammer Fantasy Series would be in a Game of Thrones style, like a TV show. I think that'd be fantastic. If it was good quality, that'd be really good, but it would need to be really good quality. Typing is hard with whiskey, for sure. Snail Knights versus Grail Knights. Yes, I've seen that illumination, for sure. Rapunzel is like under a crab right now. Felix, what are you doing? Get out from under there. Yeah, notice how Strat Game kind of pulled a few of his units back so they could rest. No, man, those animated Hulks definitely need to go deal with that Peasant Bowman, though. And Felix is pretty much heal capped now, so damage on him is going to be real damage from this point on. And Felix's leadership is not all that great, so... I have not checked out Warhammer Plus, no, I have no idea what's on there. But... well, Sippy, they could always do the, you know... What was that old History Channel show? Was it just called Massive Battles? Where they actually used Rome 2 to showcase, like, battles in the ancient world. Basically, for the battle scenes in a Warhammer Fantasy TV show, they would just have to use the Total War engine. just use literally Total War Warhammer to do the battle scenes. No, I actually think... I don't know if it was talked about much, but I think... Did they use some Total War tech for Return of the King as well, for some of the giant battle scenes at Minas Tirith? Maybe. Battle Masters? Yeah. Something like that. I can't remember the name of the show right now. I'll probably look it up after I'm done here, but... It was something like that, yeah. I used to love that show. Time Commanders, that was a different one. Time Commanders, I think, was UK only. I don't know if they ever broadcast in the US, but I'm thinking of one specifically. It was on the History Channel in the US. But Time Commanders was really good, for sure. Yeah, Time Commanders was classic. Maybe they did show it in the US, actually. I don't know, but... 2002. Uh-huh. Oh, yes. These characters for Bretonnia do not want to give up easily, but eventually they'll get grinded down. The fact that there's more than one is wild to me, yeah. Yeah, the actual start of Total War way back in the day. Decisive Battles. There we go. There we go. That's the one. Decisive Battles is the one I'm thinking of, Fat Kid. Thank you. Time Commanders and Decisive Battles. So 2 different shows. That's it. 2 different shows. Yeah, because Time Commanders was more of like a reality game show, right? Where people actually had to play. Like, had to, like, verbally issue commands to then play, basically. Like... In kind of an odd way. Oh, she did bring the Halo of Maidenly Wrath. Just hasn't done that much damage, I guess. I have to say, though, I mean, Rapunzel and her hero squad is holding out for a disturbingly long amount of time. They might actually win this. But, let's see. Leadership break there on the Damsel. Let's see if Felix breaks. If Felix breaks, Rapunzel will definitely break, but... Yes. Google is friend, for sure. Yeah, whereas Decisive Battles is more of a, like, history documentary style show. They just used the Rome Total War footage more or less for, like, showcasing how the battles might have looked or whatever, right? And I love how they hyped it up, too, in commercials. It's like cutting-edge computer simulation. Which now you go back and look at, it's Rome 1, so it's, yeah, it's janky as all hell, but it's fun. Definitely a good time. Looks like Felix is pretty much done. Fonts will hold out for some time, though. So we'll continue watching as it unfolds. It's also a situation where, well, I'm guessing Noctilus actually has better stats than the better melee stats than the generic vampire lord, but maybe I'm wrong actually. Early 2000s TV is definitely a mood for sure. Yeah, I mean, of course, Kings and Generals and other YouTube history documentarians nowadays use Total War extensively. So, but it is interesting to go back and look at some of those kind of network-produced shows that utilize Total War and different games and stuff, especially from that time period. It's super interesting. Or like Deadliest Warrior was another kind of early 2000s or late 2000s, I guess. What is that, like 2007, 2008, 2009, something like that? Yeah. Deadliest Warrior was another hilarious one. He has better stats, but isn't crazy better. Okay, yeah. I guess it wouldn't be that much more of a benefit then in this situation to have him. Oh, for the Warhammer Plus. Yeah. Warhammer Plus. I'll definitely look into it. I might subscribe for a month or two and then cancel, but... Played the Deadliest Warrior game on 360. Nice. Deadliest Warrior. It was kind of cringe, honestly, at times. Like, the way that they had the manufactured drama between the two different, like... They would always, like, get into an argument in the second segment. It was so dumb, but... Yeah, first seasons were cool, and then it got so silly. BattleBots is really cool, for sure. Alright, Hulks, this is your time. Raponce is keel-capped. Her leadership is falling. Should I do a review of some, like, old... Maybe I'll eventually, when I do my YouTube side projects, start to branch out and do some other things. Maybe I'll do reviews of, like, old 2000s history content. Yeah, BattleBots is way cool, though, for sure. I mean, we're all just 11-year-old boys at heart that love watching robots smash each other. Like, who doesn't love watching that, honestly? Why not bring Dwellers? Well, I don't know exactly why he didn't bring Dwellers. It's decent here, but this damsel is just running around right now. Yeah, just regrowth and Earthblood. I mean, Dwellers is pretty decent, but oh man, it's so hard to choose favorite BattleBot. Who would I choose? I'd have to think about that. Yeah, Raponce is starting to lose combat, and the more damage Raponce takes, the more army losses are going to start to kick in here, so... Yeah, some good attacks now. Leadership's down to about a quarter. Damsel's still alive. Bronco bot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Raponce definitely in the struggle zone right now. Saw this flying bot that would flamethrower from underneath. What was the one that was like the specialty was just flipping the other one over? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember the names of the BattleBots very well, but... Yeah, the damsel's just been literally running around in circles the entire time, which is smart. The Rapunzel is just refusing to die. That's why this is lasting so long, because Rapunzel is just a beast. But at this point, I'd probably move in with the Admiral alongside everything else. Like, yes. That was Bronco. That's right. Yeah, okay. Hydra. Maybe Hydra's... Is that one of the modern ones? I remember watching some not too long ago of the modern ones. But, I have a hard time remembering the names of that. Oh, Sword of Leoness active. So once that drops... There's still like a half-health unit of animated Hulks here as well. It's been running around the whole time. Okay. That's right. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Rapunzel, what are you doing? Ideas, right? Rapunzel's down almost to a quarter now. She's getting bullied heavily by all this high mass stuff, but... The Rapunzel meta, right? The foot Rapunzel meta is real, guys. Who knew? Certainly not me. Yeah, I think, I don't know, with the animated Hulk supporting, I would think the Admiral could probably charge in. But, they just took that blinded Halo of Maidenly Wrath there. Oh, nope. Admiral's not going to quite engage yet. Just playing it very safe. This has gone on for quite some time, but... It's not super often you get a grindy endgame in a land battle like this, but yeah, Rapunzel getting to her heal cap here. She's got Sword of Leoness up again. I would probably bring in the Damsel as well and try and fight with both of them together. Like, I don't really see a lot of point in the Damsel continuing to hide at this point. But once that Sword of Leoness is out, the Admiral does not have Hunger, actually. Okay, so he cannot regenerate in melee. Oh, this Admiral. Let's see. Let's think about his stats. 45, 60. I mean, he's got 60 melee defense. I guess Rapunzel is 53 with a bonus versus infantry, so... I don't know. Maybe it's not the right idea, but... She's pretty much gone at this point. Oh, Rapunzel actually has Blessing of the Lady now, too. That's nice. Didn't realize that, but, Rapunzel's got a buff from the girl boss genre, I guess. Rapunzel went and saw the Barbie movie and got inspired. So she's, you know, fighting with inspiration officially. Oh, I think this is it, though. These zombies are about to go down, so... Another flash bomb there. And Rapunzel eats a couple of charges. If Rapunzel wins this, I'm gonna be kind of mad. How How much value does Rapunzel have? She has 358 kills. It won't even show me her value right now. But, okay, here comes the Admiral, finally. Nope, just kidding. Nice little bait of the attack there, so that Rapunzel isn't getting attacks into these other units. But she definitely should just finish the animated hulks. But, okay, Admiral. No. Time has not come. It's going to pull away again. But if I was the Admiral, I would still fight while you have at least some support units left, because if you go 2v1 versus the Damsel and Rapunzel at the same time, it's going to be a little bit tough. I just don't think the Hulks have enough to finish Rapunzel right now, especially while she's got Sword of Leoness active. Her value is probably half of Bretonia's score, I would imagine. But her leadership's barely holding together at this point. Oh yeah, the Admiral's going to be forced to fight here. Doesn't have a choice but to turn around and just take it. Oh, maybe. 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 Yeah, no, the animated Hulks are just going to crumble at this point. He might as well just engage with the Admiral while he still has the Hulks alive, so he's not fighting completely solo. Try and get a rear charge in there if he can. Not that he has much charge bonus. It's only 25 charge bonus, but it is something. Wow, the Damsel's been on foot this whole time? Are you serious? That's absolutely ridiculous. Yep. Okay, so it's just yeah, it's just the Admiral, and Strat Game is gonna lose this. Wow. Wow, Rapunzel just tanks the whole thing. I do think Strat Game should have been fighting more with his Admiral while the Admiral had like support units, because you see he's almost able to beat Rapunzel by himself. But yeah, unfortunately, all of Rapunzel's attacks are getting focused into him, as are the Damsels. He's getting ultra staggered, so I definitely think Strat Game made a pretty critical error there in not fighting with the Admiral sooner. Like, I think he was just running around with the Admiral too much. Like, he could have been cycle charging with the Admiral pretty much the whole time, and not taking too much damage from Rapunzel, but still contributing some extra damage to try and get her off the field. And as a result, Big JP's Rapunzel is able to just hold out until the absolute end. Keeping the tactical reserve of the Damsel ultimately was pretty smart too. She could come in and get a rear charge and break the leadership of the Admiral there. Crabs all got some insane value. Mortars did a pretty good job overall. The animated Hulks got some good value. I mean, both sides are going to see some inflated numbers because of the healing. Grail Knight's almost 3,000 value on them. That's why you limit them to 1. But the rest of the build is pretty just kind of there. I mean, not really too great, but yeah, that is unbelievable. Absolutely insane. I really think, yeah, Strat Game just needed to be cycle charging with his Admiral a little bit more. Like, yes, he might have taken some hits from Rapunzel, but it's a lot better to fight with support than without. So Rapunzel's 3,000 value, 48,000 damage dealt. I honestly thought it would go a little bit better, but yeah, I can show move orders for one player. Yes, that's correct. But wow, what a finish there. What an absolute insane finish. So Big JP is going to just barely squeeze out the win in the end there. And that's, after 20 minutes, that's the result. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this today. It's been my absolute pleasure casting for you. Big thanks to Cool Umbrella once again for inviting me in to cast tonight. It's been a pleasure, truly. Really enjoyed my time, and I hope you have as well. So thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.